preparation of this workshop. So now we're going to have two people coming on the scene to talk to us about the user experience to support the relationship with the public of tomorrow. We will also have an intervention about the pension insurance. So they are probably going to react to what they are saying. So we're going to welcome Carole Gesselin, Head of Department for the Management of Service Offer, France. And then we will have Reynald Chapuis coming also on the scene, Director of Users Experience and Digital at Pôle Emploi, France. So now you are both going to intervene, but I will ask you to react to what you have to say. So, hi to everyone. I'm Director of Users Experience and Digital at Pôle Emploi. So our objective is to give you also an overview about our users' experience. So, what is really the user's experience? It's a support to enhance the global performance, to create added value in terms of quality. We also want to conceive and produce products in a cross-channel logic, and we want our organizations to accelerate the rhythm of service creation, the time to market, and that's a real challenge because, of course, we are confronted to new changes in the job market. So why do we do that? When we talk about the feeling of the user, we talk about three different experiences. First of all, the product needs to be usable. We created several objectives and tools. We talked about the lab, for example, and that will allow us to mobilize services, and the users will take part in it. The product also needs to be useful. When we are going to create the service, the market will have to adopt that service. And also that product needs to be used. And when we say used, we are talking about the feeling of the user, but also about the pragmatic feature of that product. So our goal is to conceive objects, conceive services in terms of a good usage by recruiters, businesses, users, but we are concentrating mostly on new users and also on their demand, and that public is constantly changing. They are also consuming other services, other products, so the level of expectation is increasing all the time. So now we are going to define the user's experience. There are responses and perceptions from a person about a product, about a service, about a system, and that enshrines all the aspects of the interaction of the user with the products and the services. Of course, we have to bear in mind that this has nothing to do with the satisfaction. We can be satisfied with the product, but we will not prescribe that service to some other people. So that is a goal also for us. We want also users to promote that service. Then the UX design. That experience has to be designed and that with the aim of optimizing the experience the users have when they interact with the product. You can see on the right we have a ketchup bottle, then you have the UX, the user's experience, and then you have the usability, and sometimes the experience is not that positive, as you can see. So we have to be able to maximize the perceived value. And often it's the association of these experiences that is giving birth to the user's experience. So to answer to this demand, we have several methods. You saw the lab that allows us to collaborate, talk about a specific question. That's one of the specific levies we have. But we also have other methods, design methods centered on the users, and we have here several steps of design that will allow us to check on the product, if it's usable, if it has been well perceived by the users. And also the question of empathy rises here. It's very important with the user's experience. We have to be able to understand what the user feels. And also the question of definition. We try to reflect and we try to understand those new ideas. We have rules that we try to apply. Then we have a test period. And today we are working with internal or external startups, and we work with them, with our counselors, and think about work on the field, for example. And then we have the user's value. It has to answer to the needs of the user, and it has to also produce a benefit for the user that's superior to the effort that is provided. That's very important to understand. We also have to bring something to the user. So the value has to answer to at least one of the categories of needs: functional, emotional, the question of changing one's life, and also have a social impact. So one of the principles is the minimum viable product. That is not really specific to public. Public services don't try to produce viable products. So we really have to accept that if a product is answering a need, then we have to create a model. It's not natural. We always want to do an object, a product, to conceive, to design a product that is a total product, a complete product, but we need to change that vision. We need to test the value that is added. For example, this is a classical project. We start with a wheel, then we build a car around the wheel, and to be flexible, we have to test that product that will allow us to understand the real expectations of the users and also to improve our service. We talked about the basis of what we do, but by working with startups, we can conceive products that are constantly in contact with the user. And then we have to also validate the equation of with the strategic goals we have. We have to shape those methods to answer to the demand and the goals we have. So how do we use this user's experience at Pôle emploi, and how do we create innovative service? We have three different areas in which we intervene. The digital and data part, it's very important for the user's experience to understand what they have in mind, understand how they use the product, and also know that our product is really answering the expectations. Then there's also the question of the ecosystem. We're not doing that alone. We have partners, and at Pôle emploi we have a cluster of 450 startups that are working with us. We are constantly sharing with them, and then We also have the public. We need to answer to the expectations of the public. And then we have also all those who collaborate with us, and they are very important. They are users that are at the heart of our strategies. If they have digital experience and it is well functioning, then they will be interested, they will participate even more. So you saw the lab. We also have La Fabrique, the fabric. It's also a place and a method that allows us to follow up startups that will create solutions for 3 or 6 months. So we ask them to define the needs. So we will, for example, bring to the fabric psychologists, counselors, and we will then try to define the needs, to test the needs, define the product, and then we will use all we produce with the API. We will define the scope with the API, and all those who want to use our product will be able to do it. We have services also that are used by us, by partners of PES, also by private institutions that use our services and suggest our services to their clients. We can do it also on request. Everyone can use our fabric. We also can meet experts there, and we participate in open labs there. We have KPIs, we look at net promotion scores, then we apply everyone and it as disposal of our public. So we noticed that today we need to create more products. We gather services, and we can see all those services in Emploi Store. Emploi Store is a digital service website. You can see it here. Everyone who has a smartphone can be connected to this website and have access to services and to offers that comply with their needs. And today we have a service that gathers circa 1 million visits per month. We have 300 different services that are evaluated by the users. When the apps are not good, we simply suppress them, and 52 services are managed by Pôle emploi. We have lots of information there. We have MOOCs, for example, at an international level. We can simulate job interviews. We are a simulator for a job in Hong Kong, for example. You have quizzes, and you have lots of different tools from Pôle emploi. Here you have a list of our partners, and then there's another very important step here. Today, we need to have human and physical contact. Our world is increasingly digitalized, but we have to have that physical contact. So how do we do that today? We have devices to follow more autonomous job seekers. The réseau social de l'emploi, the employment grid. Those communities have KPI, they have specific objectives, and through this device they need to answer to a person's objective and demand, but they can connect it with other people that have the same goal. And that really answers to the expectations of our users. We tested it through a POC of 18 months on a specific region in France, and it really worked well. So we are now spreading that experience, and in September we will start with other users. We will work with more than 1,000 users now. So we have to, through an individual interview, be able to also suggest other solutions. If you feel on your own and, for example, you master digital, you can go and see a counselor and have that contact. And then there's also a new project, the Tomorrow's Agency, where we try to facilitate the return to work with a physical experience. There's also a will from our Director General to reshape the link you have with the user. So it's a device that's adapted to all the publics. It allies the physical and the digital experience, and it's adapted to the territory. So our device has to be able to adapt itself. We have 13 POCs that are going on this region in France, and our objective is really to create a new concept. So now the UX at the service of its collaborators will be able to get more into detail, but we have, for a start, we have action plans for managers. We have internal action schemes. We created a big POC with more than 1,000 agents to assess digital culture. That device that's called Digit can give you a diploma. You can have an accreditation saying you master the digital. We also are detecting digital precarity. Those who have problems in accessing our services, our digital services, can be trained. Today we have a training module for job seekers that have difficulties. Today we are equipping all our agencies, all our counselors with tablets, and then you can have access to Emploi Store, permanent access to Emploi Store. Then we have a digital journal where you can see that is created by digital ambassadors. We also have an internal social grid, social network, and more than 3,000 collaborators and counselors are talking about their problems and their day-to-day. And to conclude, to conceive our new services, we have the MAP service. It's a new tool we have designed. The counselor will be able to find suggestions through algorithms and machine learning. He can have access to a community. He will be able to prescribe and deliver the services that are adapted. It can promote services, but we can also prescribe other types of services for a good experience. So our objective is the counselor that the counselor simply forgets about the tool, but instead gets interested by the empathy, by the understanding the job seeker. So we can have counselors that are doing their part and not only doing administrative work. So that's really a strong point we want to make at Pôle emploi. We want to go on the field to test our services, our products, and we want the job seeker to have the better experience possible. So, thanks a lot, Reynald. Now, Carol, you were taking notes while Reynald was doing its intervention. Can you tell us about the 2 points that you really noted?
Well, what really struck me here with this notion of our services, it was this minimal product, because we always have this wish of perfection. And here at the National Pension Fund, we're just crossing this border, and we're trying to answer better 80% of the needs rather than 100%. We're really trying to adapt to the client's need. So I think we are all interested as a public service. And the second point that I wanted to mention, it was about the Emploi store, these little interactive module that hasn't been talked very much. Well, it's trying to answer the questions that users have. Sometimes you get lost and you're not even sure anymore what you're exactly looking for. So, and I admire this will you had, to create this possibility